today's impressions are tomorrow's expressions. What does that mean? Well, if you follow any manifestation, law of attraction, metaphysics, right, we understand that whatever you impress upon the subconscious mind will at some point in time be expressed, right? This could be negative impressions, it could be negative thoughts. These could be positive. These can be unconscious thoughts or conscious thoughts. You could impress upon the mind something unconsciously, or you could do it with intention, right? So at the end of the day, whatever you decide or assume what you are today, whatever you impress upon the mind today, whatever thoughts that you think today, whatever seeds that you plant inside the fertile mind today will grow into fruition tomorrow. They will be expressed tomorrow, right? Tomorrow may not be a 24-hour period, but sometime in the near future, whatever it is that you imagine, whatever it is, whatever the mental images and the mental movies that you play in your mind, and that you feel those things with emotion, you feel these things with feeling, you feel them with your heart, you feel it in your bones. Whatever you feel, and you attach that feeling to a certain desired thought, or maybe an undesired thought, right? You will eventually express that. The subconscious mind will see to it that it gets expressed. We are controlled by our imagination, and we are, goddamn, man, wind start blowing this way. Whatever seeds that we sow today, they're gonna grow tomorrow. So, as I said, you can do this unconsciously. You could not know any information like this, and you could go through your day, and you can be affected by certain things, right? You can think certain things, you can feel certain things, you can feel that you are a certain thing, right? And whatever that you assume that yourself to be, you will see that tomorrow, right? It will be expressed tomorrow. Whatever you plant in your fertile soil of your mind, it's going to grow the next day. So what you see here today is seeds that have been planted in the past. This is why they say in the Bible, it says to close the door to all your five senses, right? I want to get the Bible verse. I might cut this out. But Matthew 6:6, but when you pray, go away by yourself, shut the door behind you, and pray to your Father in private. Then your Father who sees everything will reward you in public, or reward you in, where everybody can see. I can't think of the word right now. Matthew 6:6, go away and pray. When it says go away and pray, right? One thing about the Bible, I was raised in a very Christian family, right? But they taught us about the Bible how to take it literally. But if you're a student of Neville Goddard, if you've heard of Reverend Ike, you know that these individuals have decoded the symbolism of the Bible and explained it in a way that wasn't literal, because the Bible is simply a book about elevating the human consciousness. It's not a history book. So when in the Bible it says to, before you pray, right? Praying is having the mental images of good in your mind, right? Praying is seeing things in your mind that are unseen in the physical. So before you pray, go away by yourself and shut the door behind you. What does shutting the door mean? That means shutting the door to the physical world, the physical reality. Shutting the door to all of your five senses that bring in all of this information to you on a daily basis, right? Your current conditions, your current undesirable conditions that you live in, right? Shut the door to all of that and pray to your Father in private. Visualize the images and visualize the life that you want to live, who you want to be, what do you want to do. Visualize that in your mind, right? And live from that standpoint. Not focus on what your current conditions are, what your current conditions are, because your current conditions are nothing more than seeds that were planted yesterday, right? And if we understand that imagination creates reality, so what we imagine today, right, will be expressed in a future time period. Oh, smoke killing me, bro. But it's warm though. What we express today will be expressed later, right? This is why we have to think from a standpoint of what we want to be tomorrow. Not if what we are today is undesirable or something that we don't want to be, if we're experiencing things that we don't want to experience, our conditions aren't A1 like we want them to be. We have to think differently today so we can experience something different tomorrow. Because if our imagination creates reality and we look at our world and we internalize the information that our five senses gives us, right? Things like we're not enough, or if we see our surroundings and they're not where we think we deserve to be, then we start to make decisions based on that, or we start to think based on that, right? And if we think based on that, and we have mental images and mental movies that play in our mind based on what we see currently in the physical realm, then what does that mean? That means that we're impressing those thoughts and we're feeling those things. We're feeling like, things aren't enough. We're feeling like we don't have enough. We're feeling like we want more. We're feeling the desire of more. And there's nothing wrong with feeling the desire of more, right? But if you're thinking that you don't have the thing, then that's what you're making decisions based off of. You not having the thing. So that's what you're impressing upon your mind. It's what you're impressing upon your subconscious mind, which dictates what you do when you wake up in the morning, what you do in your waking hours. So if you're impressing that you don't have it on the subconscious mind, then it's going to be expressed like that tomorrow. So what you're currently doing is you're recreating the same things every day, and you're wondering why your life doesn't change. You have to think from a higher frequency. You have to think from a higher level. You have to think of something greater. You have to think of what it is that you want to experience, but not what you're actually experiencing. You have to think in your mind who you want to be, what you want to do. And you have to see yourself being and doing those things and having those things. Because if you see yourself having those things and you feel yourself into those experiences, you're going to get different thoughts. And with those different thoughts are in turn are going to give you a different result. You're going to plant a different seed. You're going to soil a different seed into the ground now, today. And if you're soiling a different seed into the ground today, you're going to get a different result tomorrow. Tomorrow's expression is today's impression. So impress something today that you want to experience. Think from a terms of the future of already experiencing a thing before you have actually experienced it in reality. You can close your eyes and imagine something, and your mind doesn't know the difference of an actually experienced thing in reality versus something that you just thought of. So with that being said, close your eyes and imagine what it is that you want to be, what it is that you want to do, what it is that you want to have. Imagine yourself in these experiences, and you hold the image until you feel it, and you feel it in such a way that it feels like you're actually experiencing that. You can barely tell the difference of something that you're thinking of and something that you've actually experienced. And you hold that image until you gather that and garner that feeling until you feel it wholeheartedly, right? And then you do it with repetition. You do it repeatedly until you feel so full that you don't even know the difference, that you don't even need the thing because you already feel like you have the thing. Once you feel that, then you let it go, and you let the unseen forces of the spiritual realm and God handle the rest of it for you. So just remember, man, whatever you think today, you plant the seeds for tomorrow's harvest. Today's impression is tomorrow's expression. Hey, if you need help with this type of information, I help individuals be able to implement these ideas and these things in their personal life, in their business, so they can create whatever it is that they desire. You know, it's one thing knowing this information, but it's another to implement this type of things, to implement this in your life, to do the work, to do the work that's required to make things change for you, right? A lot of people get into this work and they start visualizing and they do the things, right? But things don't change for them. But there's a book called The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles. And there's a science to things, right? There's to make things work, there's a certain way you have to do things. And in that book, he says, it's not the things that people do, but it's the certain way that people do things. So, you know, if you want to change something in your life, you want to transform something, you want to do something different, there's a certain way you have to do things, right? But hey, link in the description, man. Book a consultation with me and see if it's a good fit. But it's your boy Robmillionaire, man. I'm gonna holler at y'all on the next one.